Good Friday morning, East Tennessee. Congratulations, you have made it to the Labor Day weekend. I know Friday, some of us probably checked out yesterday afternoon, let's be honest, but we can say it's Friday, it's a Friday, and it's a 3-day weekend. What more could you ask for? How about maybe some dry weather? Well, we got that too, but I want to show you the Ultimate Doppler Radar presented by A1 Fincham Heating and Cooling. Oh yes, we have a new sponsor. They won't quit until you're happy. All technicians are NATE certified or NAT certified and prepared to get the job done right the first time. We'll talk more about A1 Fincham here in a moment, but there's nothing to see here. But if you slide to the west, I think some of us are already in Nashville. Yeah, I think so. Why would they be in Nashville? Let's see here. Probably because of maybe the orange tie. Maybe they're already thinking it's an early game. It's 11 o'clock Central Time Saturday, so maybe I'll start tailgating now. I don't know. Maybe that's where your mindset is. If that's where you are, congratulations. That's where I'm thinking. The Vols and the Virginia Cavaliers. Big game going on. 11 o'clock midday here, of course, for if you're watching on TV, but we'll give you that forecast here in just a second. By the way, A1 Fincham Heating and Cooling, there's nothing more worrisome than if you approach winter and you're not sure whether your heat's going to work. Do you remember how cold it was last December? We had like a polar plunge. You know what I'm talking about? I mean, the temperatures didn't just drop. They really dropped. And if you need peace of mind, A1 Fincham has been family owned and operated since 1982. A1Fincham.com. They have an awesome, and I mean awesome, monthly maintenance program. They'll come out to your home, check out right before winter and right before summer, 2 times a year, and you can just pay a small monthly maintenance fee just for peace of mind. I love it. A1 Fincham, Heating and Cooling. I'll talk more about them in the days to come, but love the fact they are now on the Captain Accurate platform as a sponsor. You'll notice a couple of rain showers moving across Mississippi this morning, but you really have to squint to find rain. It's amazing. You get all these tropical systems, and they all move out to sea, and things get pretty quiet here. But they still have some nuisance showers, thunderstorms near Louisiana, through parts of maybe the panhandle of Florida. But the cleanup, I'm sure, will continue on across not only Florida, but Georgia, South Carolina, and North Carolina as well. What is left of Idalia, now a post-tropical cyclone. That's a fancy name for saying she doesn't look like the way she used to look. She's actually weakened. She's got winds of 60, but becoming more in the cooler waters of the Atlantic, may actually decrease to 50 this afternoon, and then work its way at 2 a.m. like so, and based on the Hurricane Center's track, curls it back around. There were some indications that, I guess 3 or 4 days ago, said, oh, this thing's going to curl back to Florida. Then yesterday, some models said, no, it's going to curl back to New England. Well, wouldn't that be weird? But at this point, I think it's probably academic. That's why the cone looks so large toward the end there. You notice at 2 a.m. Wednesday, the cone's looking, well, it could go left, it could go right. But I suspect it's just going to go out into the cooler waters of the Atlantic. We won't worry about Idalia for much longer. And obviously, the cleanup, the mark has been made. Visibility not an issue here on the 1st of September. Can you believe it? It's a brand new month, and I want to come back on camera just to say good morning to you. Happy September, happy Friday, happy Labor Day. If you're a ragweed sufferer, it's not the greatest of times, but it is what it is. And I'm also live not only on Facebook, but YouTube at this moment. If you're on Facebook, let me say hi. Fred says, good morning, David. Beautiful, cool morning. Love it. Carrie Aguilar, one of my subscribers on Facebook, premium member, says good morning. Everyone, have a great and safe day and a weekend. Thank you. She's got the cup of coffee. And the heart back to you. And morning, David, from Wanda Poe. She says, I like your orange tie. Go Vols. I got excited. I mean, we're what, ranked number 12? Do you say, or seed number 12? 12. We're ranked number 12 in the country. So there's a lot of good reason to be excited about this season. There's always optimism at the beginning of the season. Gotta love that. But visibility, not a big issue. It is cool, as we heard just a moment ago from Fred. But as I jump back to YouTube, because I know there's some of you may be over here. If you're not on YouTube, let me know, because I'd like to see your comments. Steve says, good morning. He's over here. Glad to have Steve. He's also on the YouTube site. So if you're, we're expanding that reach, love to be able to communicate with you on that platform as well. Temperatures are much cooler northward. 58 right now in Lexington, Kentucky. 57 Roanoke, and it's 70 in Chattanooga. You look at these numbers as we close in at home. It's 63 officially at McGee-Tyson at 6 o'clock. Jonesville's not reporting. They've been down a couple of days now, maybe a couple of weeks, but they're in the upper 50s as interpolated here. 55 in Oneida. Boy, is that cool. Man, that tastes like, that's like fall, man. Fall, you're talking mid-50s, cool and crisp. Oh, there's some temperature envy in Scott County, everybody. Everybody head up to Scott County real quick. Just feel the 50s. That feels great. Oh, that feels absolutely fantastic. And it's 59 around Maryville, 61 Sevierville. Gotta love it. And the dew points, they did come down. It's not humid this morning, nor will it be terribly humid this afternoon, although we'll look at that. It may come back, especially westward toward Nashville. But 60, current dew point in Crossville, a level of comfort that is pretty sweet here on a Friday morning. Meanwhile, we look at this humidity. Well, does it come back in green? Well, you be the judge. Midday, it certainly appears, if you're headed to Nashville this afternoon, you may say, it doesn't feel as comfortable as it did in Knoxville. Oh, that's why, because you left. If you had just stayed here, you would have enjoyed the less humid air, perhaps. But look at all the green. It's from Huntsville, Birmingham, Nashville. By 5 o'clock, it's more humid there, less humid here. That's pretty wild. Humid air, yeah, I'd say, hey, there's a reason. There's something going on. We've got winds coming up out of the southwest there, and it's going to feel more humid from Jackson, Nashville, south toward Huntsville. We head into 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. It still feels pretty nice. It's not stuffy here, but eventually heat and humidity will return, especially toward the second half of your holiday weekend. There's 5 o'clock Saturday. Here's 8 o'clock Sunday. Still feels good. I don't know what you're seeing, Alders. Feels pretty good on Sunday, but then Monday, do we see more humidity? Well, you be the judge. Maybe a little bit more, right? There's 5 o'clock. And temperatures by Monday should be in the lower 90s for many of us here in the valley. So heat, humidity come back in summertime form next week, even though this is the unofficial end of summer. Summer's going to live on. Typically, astronomically, doesn't end until the third week of September. But we have to take a look at the wind speeds. Not a big problem today. Should be about northeast 0 to 5 miles per hour, if not variable, because we have a little bit of fog maybe in some spots, but really not a whole lot to talk about. Tracking the clouds, we have a few of those. Sun comes up this morning at precisely 7:08. So long after I'm done, because I'll be done at the top of the hour, the sun will be coming up, and it's going to be a beautiful morning. So I hope you'll enjoy your Friday as it continues on this path of nice weather. Very comfortable. If you're on the call, let's say good morning to you. I got a couple of notes. I saw Steve Stone here on YouTube. Glad to have you here, Steve. And then we'll jump over back to Facebook. Maybe a couple of notes, Fred and Carrie and Wanda. So if you have a note you want to share with me, I'll do my best to magnify your voice as we head into this weekend. Sunrise, sunset today. I mentioned 7:08, but it goes down now at 4 minutes after 8. 8:04, so if you're trying to mow the lawn this afternoon or early evening, if that's what you do on a Friday, whatever you're doing on Friday, the sun will be going to bed now at 8:04. Getting the kids ready for the bus stop this morning, we're going to start off in the 50s if you're in Oneida. We're talking 60s if you're in Knoxville, but we'll say 63 is the official number at McGee Tyson at the moment. But 10 o'clock, comfortable. Room temperature. I'd say recess is on in elementary school. Maybe if the kids have that freedom to run out and about. Maybe they're studying for a test. Who knows? 82 at 2. But we'll finish the day, I think today, about 86. Yesterday's high. You ready for this? Let's see. Yesterday's high in Knoxville was 82. Oak Ridge hit 85. So which is it? Is it 82 or 85? Exactly, right? 85 was Oak Ridge, 82 in Knoxville. Sometimes there could be a 2-3 degree difference. And Oak Ridge and Knoxville really aren't that far apart when you think about it. Temperatures today may be different from Wartburg at 82, 86 for Knoxville, but 82 in Sevierville. Pigeon Forge, and a little bit of yellow there over Gatlinburg, probably be struggling to reach 80 today in Gatlinburg this afternoon. 84 for Morristown, 80 for Crossville. That's my expectation. It's hard to get around this. The allergies are off the chart. This is the Super Bowl weekend for ragweed. What are you talking about? Like usually, Labor Day weekend is when ragweed tends to be at its worst. So if you've got the conditions, you've got the symptoms, you've got the headache behind the eye, you've got the wheezing, you've got the sneezing, you're going to fall over because like I don't feel great. Well, just have a little bit of grace for your neighbors because they're probably dealing with it too. But I will tell you, ragweed doesn't typically fade from view until you get that first frost in October. And if you are new to East Tennessee, you say, wait a minute, I got to wait till mid-October? Well, you may see a gradual decrease in symptoms, but this is when it usually comes to a fever pitch. So raging ragweed, a real issue. By the way, let's get back to football. That's why I wore the orange tie today, because there's nothing like Go Big Orange, the first game of the season. Granted, it's in Nashville, but you could say it's like a home game. Number 12, Tennessee Volunteers taking on the Virginia Cavaliers. And I'm expecting temperatures a little bit warmer than I thought yesterday, but low 80s for kickoff. 85 halftime at Nissan Stadium in Nashville. And by the end of the fourth quarter, should be in the mid to upper 80s. Of course, if you're in a sun-filled seat, you'll say, oh, it felt hotter than 87. This is like in the shade, right? Big difference if you've got a sunny seat, a shady seat, but it is what it is. Winds should be about 3 to 8 out of the south and east. Southeast on Saturday in Nashville. By the way, if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, I hope you'll do so. I got Steve Stone over here right now, and I got a couple more. Now we're up to 3. We're growing. I tell you what, just started doing the dual live action. We've been doing Facebook Lives for years, but I thought, you know what, let's expand the reach, increase the notifications, because if we expand the reach, then you can't say, oh, I didn't get notified. I didn't get the algorithm. It didn't notify me. But if you're on YouTube, you might get another extra notification when I'm doing lives, and would love to have you join me. It's free. The subscription to the channel is free. Just go to youtube.com/@CaptainAccurate. You may prefer that platform. Maybe you have friends that are YouTubers, are always on YouTube. It's pretty easy to find me there. By the way, you know what's funny? You don't see this very often. I can't even recall when I saw this last. But the National Hurricane Center came up with their map this morning, and they put a new storm back there. I said Gert. I put a little arrow there. Gert. I said, wait a minute. We've already had Gert. According to the National Hurricane Center, after, and I'm quoting, after several weeks of meandering in the middle of the Atlantic, Gert finally redefined her circulation center. So Gertrude is a fighter. You didn't know about Gertrude being a fighter. Oh, is she going to be worse than Dahlia? No, she's just going to fade away where she is, but I thought it was funny. I mean, maybe she should have been known as Lazarus. I don't know, but there's Gertrude. And then you could see another disturbance off of Africa, 90% chance, and then a 40% chance in Orange. You've got a 90% chance that Katia likely to form, and then if the next storm comes in, I think it's Margot. And then Leo. So we got some storms still ahead of us. But Gert, and then we got Jose. Jose is kind of like Jose's time step is boop, done. I mean, we're just like naming every little tropical wave that comes across, but that's what we're doing in some ways. Franklin moving north, and we've already highlighted what is now tropical, post-tropical cyclone Idalia. That's what we've already looked at. But let me show you Gert, just to show you where she'd been. In fact, I think I can go back out. Where you see the broken white line is where she was initially. So in the last couple of weeks, we had Gert that started up where the line begins, and then a broken line, and then it worked north, and it's got winds now of 35 miles per hour. But when you look at this a little more closely, when you start to say, well, okay, it's a D. That's a tropical depression. This is hardly a storm. And where you see the spinning tropical storm marker, it's what, 2 time steps, from 5 a.m. to 2 a.m., 5 a.m. this morning to 2 a.m. Saturday, and it's done. It's basically a wave. So, I mean, are we naming these things willy-nilly? I don't know. You be the judge. But, I mean, I think you really need to have a little, if you're not going to name the Memorial Day storm that really impacted parts of the Carolinas and affected a Carnival cruise line back on Memorial Day, don't get me started. That's what I think is amazing, that we can name all these little things that are rolling out there, but they don't really have probably a good need for a name. Katia, Lee, and Margot are the next 3 names on the list, followed by Nigel and then Ophelia. So we've got some interesting names still on the list this year. How about the future smoke? For those of you that are concerned about, well, humidity we've covered, but maybe you're sensitive to smoke, anything wildfire smoke. This is how some of the models suggest. We get maybe a hint of light gray across the state, but if you take a look over the next 12 to 14 hours, you can see a little hint across the Kentucky state line, maybe a little bit later today, but I really think you'd be hard-pressed to notice much in the way of smoke today, so that's good news there. Headlines, it is now 6:53 as I'm looking here at YouTube and I'm looking at Facebook. If you have another comment on Facebook, coming back here, I see Fred's on here, and Fred says another comment. He says, y'all have a safe and blessed weekend. Go Vols. Thank you, Fred. Thank you for your support. Wanda says, going to be glad to see your winter outlook soon. Heard going to be bad, maybe with some fog. We'll see. Well, I think a lot of us are still assessing not only the fogs in August, but maybe the persimmon seeds, maybe the Farmer's Almanac. Maybe you have your own woolly worm that you like to look at. Maybe that's what you look at. We'll talk more about that in the days to come. Headlines for now. Dry weather ahead, and I mean dry. More heat for Labor Day weekend. And even though it is the unofficial end of summer, summer will in fact live on with 90s. He says 90s more summer coming in next week. Right now at the airport, if you're just joining me, at 63 degrees. We have a northeast wind at 6. Relative humidity, 87%, but not a whole lot of instances of fog. We have dew points now in the upper 50s, which really feel pretty fantastic. Precipitation chances going to look like this for the next 7 days. Might look like this for, well, maybe a week and a half. Who knows? You may be like, man, I haven't had any rain and I can't remember how long. It's going to be a while. September, October are typically drier months than July and August. Valley Planner, hazy sunshine today. We should reach 86. That would match the average high. which means if you take the last 30 years, the 1st of September, we average 86. That's what typical. It doesn't mean you have to be 86. When you happen to land on 86, you don't get a ding, 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 ding and a jackpot, but that's just where I think things are going to be today. So we're obviously warmer than it was yesterday. Storm Prediction Center, looking at some colors. Most of it's the no label. The first box, first rectangle if you want to call it, no severe storms expected, but thunderstorms are present in some cases so across the south and east. But there may be some darker green areas near Las Vegas today, Phoenix, Tucson, and Salt Lake City, where they may have some isolated severe storms. Again, Tampa, Miami, run-of-the-mill, typical Florida-type thunderstorms, but they should have pretty decent weather for those that are having to clean up. And severe risks for Saturday, not an issue. Anywhere in the lower 48, so that looks good. Saturday, again, for Labor Day holiday, I think it's a pretty sweet forecast around the country. If you're doing some traveling, there are some areas that might get some rain, maybe Dallas, Houston on Sunday, but you'll notice it curls around us, meaning we'll see this rain over here, but it's not going to be in Knoxville. So I expect a dry outlook for our holiday weekend. That's the way things are shaping up, at least for this holiday. By the way, some severe risk. I'm going to jump ahead here. It's 6:55. We zoom back in. For the dramatic effect of zooming in, you can see there's not much to see here on Sunday. But as we look at the futurecast, where there is some rain, and for those who might be traveling to Nashville for the said game tomorrow, might be getting there early tonight, maybe just to enjoy the town. You may find some showers dance around across parts of Middle Tennessee. There's 12 noon today, right? It's raining perhaps in Birmingham in showery form. Slides across Nashville. You say, oh, wait a minute, I thought there was no rain. That weatherman said no rain. Well, I didn't know you were going to Nashville. If you're going to Nashville for today, you may get some showers. I don't expect that for the game tomorrow. It'll be further west toward Memphis, Little Rock on Saturday, if you're taking note. But that's where the rain is today. 5 o'clock, couple of showers. High pressure is going to drop down from D.C., and that's going to push some of that rain on Saturday further west of Nashville. You see what that looks like? Right along the Mississippi River, perhaps around Memphis, maybe east of Little Rock. There may be a few showers during the time tomorrow, but nothing at Nissan Stadium. High pressure really takes center stage for us Sunday. Maybe it's the inflection point, because I think temperatures on Sunday should be around 89, and then we should be in the lower 90s as we head into Labor Day itself. So it does get gradually warmer and naturally gradually more humid. All right, here's the futurecast. 6:57. I'm going to be finishing on time today. 68 Knoxville. 66 in La Follette, midday today, pretty nice. I won't say 77 is room temperature, but it's pretty sweet for a Friday. I mean, think about it. Sunglasses, a little bit of sunscreen if you're going to be outside for a long time. Maybe you have access to a neighborhood pool. You might say, hey, you know what? I've got some time off. This is what I'm going to do. Why not? Maybe a few scattered clouds, as you can see illustrated here. 86 for Knoxville. May not get out of the upper 70s to near 80 for Crossville. So Crossville, a little bit cooler. When they get cooler in the wintertime, some people cry foul. Why are they getting snow and we get rain? Because they're always colder than we are, like all the time. Like, did you not notice that in the summer months? But it is. It's usually 5 degrees. Usually 5 degrees cooler in Crossville on any given day. But that's just an average. 72, 11 o'clock for tonight. And some of us will be cooling quickly through the 60s. I expect low temperatures tonight down about 64 for McGee-Tyson. Knoxville, 65 around, say, Kingston, Rockwood, and 60 for Crossville. By midday tomorrow, oh yes, we're looking for a nice sun-filled day, and highs around 87. That's how I expect to finish tomorrow, another glorious day. So if you like dry weather, I think you're going to like the extended period. 86 for a high temperature today. Hazy sun, it's warmer than yesterday. Some scattered clouds and winds, really not much of a factor. Today, 84, La Follette, Caryville, Duff, 83 for Oneida, Huntsville, 85, Kingston, Rockwood, 80 degrees for Lake Tansy and Crossville, and don't forget Newport, Del Rio, Cosby, about 85, Morristown, 84, as well as White Pine. So I'm kind of curious, are you excited about the weather? And if you are excited, let me know with a comment. I want to post this, David, are you taking Monday off for your trip? Well, I'll keep you posted. I will probably take a Labor Day off. Don't you think that's, I mean, that's the whole idea, right? If you're laboring, you take the day off. But we'll explore that in the premium side more. And then Fred says, y'all have a safe and blessed weekend. Go Vols. I'm excited about the game. I mean, that's something I think many of us will be glued to, as it is going to be featured on ABC. So we'll be watching that game very closely on Saturday. 87 for a Nashville high today. As I mentioned, they should be around 87, 88 tomorrow as well. But they have the possibility of a few passing showers if you're traveling there today. If you're going tomorrow morning, I guess you'd have to leave pretty early. but you can do that and you won't have any rain opportunities then. 87 for Memphis, 79 for Asheville around the Biltmore. Tonight, down to 64. Scattered clouds, most of them of the high variety. The high clouds will prevail for tonight. May make the moon look a little hazy, but obscured, but it will still be a pleasant night, not all that humid. Lows are about 62 for La Follette, Middlesboro 59, Tellico Plains and Madisonville 63, and if you're in Athens, about 64 degrees in McMinn County for your overnight low tonight. All right, it's 7 o'clock. Right on the dot. Here's your Captain Accurate Weather Authority forecast for Knoxville, East Tennessee. 86 for Friday, 87 for Saturday. I thought you said it's going to get warmer. It does. Yeah, it does. 89 for Sunday. And then we're in the low 90s. We got another heat wave. Just when summer, or you thought the unofficial summer, was ending, it comes back. So hopefully that neighborhood pool, or if you're nearby a lake, you'll still have access to jumping in, maybe a kayak or a canoe. Who knows what you're doing this weekend, but I hope you'll have a safe one indeed, because it obviously does get considerably warmer. By the way, if you haven't picked up the idea that we're going to continue on this path, we've now added up all the fogs. Many of us who've been keeping track, because I have a lot of premium members that have been keeping track of their fogs in Kingston, their fogs in maybe Harriman, their fogs in Crossville, because everybody's different. They will be adding that into a factor, maybe a factor for the winter. We'll see what happens. But just a reminder, just to know that the hot weather is still coming, and it will also be dry, so don't expect much in the way of rain, so your lawn might need a drink here before too long. Anyway, well, my name is David Aldridge. Some people call me Captain Accurate. It's not easy being accurate, so weather doesn't surprise you. We'll see you here next time. Take care.